That's a great Tom Petty shirt. And rightfully so, because Tom Petty is one of those guys that, man, you know, you looked at like the Traveling Wilburys, that band. You remember that? You look at the legends that were in there, and it's like they really did get like 5 of like the fucking gods. Like just, were you into them? Were you into the Traveling Wilburys? Was that a big deal, or when that happened?
No, I mean, especially not when it happened. I didn't know about anything until 1993. Like,
really?
My dad was a minister, so I wasn't allowed to listen to anything, and nobody we hung around with listened to anything. So I didn't know anything. It wasn't until I was 15 that somebody that was like in my class had a car. So I was in someone that was my age was driving. It was the first time.
Really? So you had no music until you were 15 years old?
I mean, it was all like Christian music.
Oh Lord, heaven don't shine, heaven don't shine.
I mean, that's not bad. That's actually better than the stuff that we had. We had white Christian music, which is very dirge-like.
Yeah, it's the Righteous Gemstones, which is like, well, the devil's inside of all little children.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Gotta get the devil out and bring Jesus in. Hey, let's shout. Oh, Jesus, you're the best, Jesus. Well, come on down and give me your tithe, because you're skiddling do. All right, I should be a preacher. So, all right, before we get into your past, before we even dive into Tom Petty, Geoff, promote away. This is your moment. Anything you want to promote? I know you're on the road with Tom. Like, talk about it.
The main thing that I need promoted is August 13th and 14th at Union Hall in Brooklyn. There's 4 shows. So,
Parker, shut the fuck up. Sorry, dude. Anytime that buzzer goes off, take it again. Go ahead, clean one. Go ahead.
August 13th and 14th at Union Hall in Brooklyn. I'm recording an album and we're filming it. So I have 4 shows. You can go to their website, unionhallny.com, or mine, geofftatecomedy.com.
Yeah, go people. If you've never seen Geoff live, he's hysterical, great comic, and Union Hall is such a great venue that, I mean, it's going to turn out really well, dude. I think the look of it, the sound of it's going to be great, because that room fucking slaps.
Yeah. I did it. The first time I did it was in December, and it was I really liked it.
Good.
So as soon as this came up and we were looking for a place to do it, I've never recorded one on the East Coast. All my albums have been like either West Coast or in Cincinnati. So I'm real happy to do.
Welcome to like, we're real comedy fans. Real comedy fans. Also, it's Brooklyn, so they'll all be communists too.
That's perfect.
You're like, I got 20 minutes on Vladimir Lenin.
Yeah. Positive. A positive 20.
Stalin. Oh, this is God, everybody. Are you guys all proletariat like me, products of modernity? Okay. Richard Engels at the land. It's my favorite book. I love communism. Won't work, but I love it.
Yeah, no, it's like I got most of my politics from Kurt Vonnegut books. So that stuff would work, but he's dead, so we can't vote for him.
Yeah, no. Well, we've got some good people. We've got Biden and Trump to choose from.
So, yes, quality. It's solid.
That's why Tom Petty's dead, because he was like, I can't live this world no more.
Man, it was such a bummer, but he missed all the bad stuff. He got out right before it kept getting worse. It's gotten worse every day since he died.
We lost Petty. I mean, how cool is that like he was able to do those shows at the Hollywood Bowl? Like, I think he did like 3 or 4 nights at the Hollywood Bowl, and then he passed away. And there were so many people that I knew that went to those shows. I, of course, didn't, because, and to be honest with you, it's one of the reasons now I will spend top dollar and I will go see those old artists like the Rolling Stones or Paul McCartney, or if Roger Waters comes around, or anybody really, because they're getting to that age where it's like, dude, I'm lucky I saw Prince. I never saw Bowie. Would have loved to have seen Bowie. And now, like, because I've never been a huge Tom Petty fan other than the hits. Like, you know, as I say on every episode, most of the time, this is the first time I've ever listened to, and for this record in particular, it was the first time I've ever listened to Damn the Torpedoes all the way through. But that being said, I knew most of the songs that were on it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's like what, 4 greatest hits? Like on the single disc greatest hits, I think 4 of the songs are from that album. And then on the double greatest hits anthology, I think it gets up to 6 out of 9.
I mean, Refugee, Here Comes My Girl, Don't Do Me Like That.
And Even the Losers. Those are the 4 from.
Yeah. I mean, those are the ones. I mean, but here's the funny thing is I heard Shadow of a Doubt. I've heard Century City.
Yeah.
I've heard You Tell. I've heard them all. I just never heard them in the order that they were laid out. So to go back for what we were saying. So you were raised in a very Pentecostal. I don't know what was the sect.
By the time I was 15, it was Pentecostal. It kept moving from I guess when I was real young, it was Church of Christ, like no like a cappella, no music Church of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Then it moved to the Church of Christ that had a piano. Then it moved to Christian church, which sounds like just all of it, but it's a very specific type.
Yeah.
And then from that, it went to like Church of God and Assembly of God, like the Holy Roller, Speaking in Tongue, Pentecostal stuff.
Holding snakes?
Nah, not snakes. We never got that far. We
Jeremiah
were very close.
Jeremiah, he's a snake holder. Jesus Christ, don't fight me, you venomous Lord.
You did snakes?
Different snake. My own snake is the only snake I hold.
All right, yeah, we weren't allowed to do that either. This is an old joke, but the way to describe it is we weren't snakes. We weren't all the way to snakes, but it was the kind of church where if someone brought a snake, everyone would be like, I guess we do snakes now. Like,
I guess we're holding snakes. All right.
That is just
this
one more step.
9?
Yeah. We would have done it. For sure we would have done it. I don't know how it it's like my dad was able to like think and be like progress through versions of Christianity, but that was the only place he was able to like change his mind about anything.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're talking like a super strict upbringing then, right?
Yeah.
So
very.
So you didn't even hear it in passing. Did you like hear music and you were like, oh wait, what is that?
I mean, I must have heard it at like the grocery store or the restaurants probably, but like whatever, but not good, not like restaurants where they play fun stuff, or not bars where there's a jukebox, nothing like that, just whatever was on at Bob Evans.
Oh man,
that kind of nonsense.
That's like Lawrence Welk. That's like, yeah, man, you're not getting No Diggity by Blackstreet.
No.
Wait, what is this? What is
not
this?
At the ground round.
You just hear like, all I want to do zoom zoom. You're like, oh God. You say like plugs your ears.
Yeah,
so you can't hear that. So then what happened at 15? So take me to 15 then.
I started going to, we changed school. Like, so we moved a lot too. So nothing ever, there was no like older brothers. I never was like friends with somebody long enough to meet their family or whatever. It was just, we'd be in a town for a year. So the first 6 months you don't have any friends, and the next 6 months you have some, but then you move and then you just start over. And we had just started over some new school, the school I ended up graduating from. There was a kid in my class that was a year older and lived near me. So I could get a ride home with him. And it was just the first time I was in a car with another kid. And so we just listened to the radio, like an actual rock and roll radio station. And Mary Jane's Last Dance is the first song I remember hearing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did it do? Like, yeah, tell me that. Tell me the experience.
As soon as I heard it, I knew. I was like, well, this is better by like light years better than anything I'd ever heard. But I wasn't ready to, I think I knew better than to be like, well, then this is my favorite band. Like, it was the first song I like actually listened to. So I just went with everything. Like I liked it. I got a couple of Tom Petty albums as fast as I could. But then it took like a few years. It wasn't until 99 that I realized, oh no, this is just my favorite band. The Dad album come out in 99 and I bought it. The day it came out, I heard them. They were on Rockline. Remember Rockline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they were on Rockline on Sunday night. And I listened to that after work. And then they were promoting, like, so Tuesday the album comes out. I bought it that day. Listened to it a couple of times. And by like the third time through that album, I was like, well, I should get all the rest of their albums. This is my favorite band. And that's been like that ever since.
Tom Petty's number one.
Yeah, number one. By a lot.
Number one. I mean, what's number two?
I mean, number two changes all the time. I don't know what number two is. Maybe Pearl Jam.
Okay.
But,
it's still rock and roll.
Yeah, but that definitely has some, like, I like how much they like Tom Petty.
So it's all from Tom Petty then.
It seems like it. I mean, after that, I listen to just more, like, everything has shifted so much.
Yeah.
Over my life that lately I've been listening to like a lot of like earlier 80s stuff. And well, like, I mean, that's a bad way to say it. Like, the Clash and the Joe Strummer solo albums. And, like I just went through a phase where I listened to that first Cyndi Lauper record for like a week. Just new stuff. I like to, like, not new release, but like stuff that I never really listened to. And the stuff that hangs around are there's like 5 Elvis Costello albums that I love and will go back to regularly. But there's so many. Elvis Costello, he's like Bob Dylan, where there's just so much where you're like, you can love Elvis Costello or Neil Young or Bob Dylan and still be like, well, there's like 15 albums I've never heard.
Yes, but here's the thing with Bob Dylan, and especially with me and how we do the podcast, is like I was never really much of a Bob Dylan fan. And then on the podcast, our first Dylan record to dig into was Time Out of Mind. So it's later.
Yeah.
Way different Dylan than early Dylan. Every song 6, 7, 8 minutes long, about the devil, about God, about death. And I'm like, all right, this is okay. And then the next one we did was Love and Theft, or I think that's what it was, which another great, important record by him, but still later in his career, every song's too long.
Do you know what day that one came out?
9/11.
9/11, yeah. September 11th, 2001.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking, and it blew up. That shit blew up.
I bought it that day.
You know what else came out that day?
Slayer, God Hates Us All.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, but I was gonna say Jay-Z. I think the Blueprint 2 came out that day. There's a bunch of records because it's a Tuesday, so that was the day that records used to come out before, like, it became Apple fucking. They're dropping it. Now you get a record that just like on a Wednesday night at like 3 a.m. They're just like, yeah, just take it.
But those are like special events, like when Beyonce is like, here, put this out.
Yes, yeah.
But they seem to have shifted everything to Friday.
Friday's a good day, though. It's a good day to release a record because if you think about it, man, it's the weekend. You get to really fucking live with it.
It's payday.
Payday. Yeah, exactly. So what I was trying to get to, though, is that that's not the way to experience Bob Dylan, is start at the ass of it and work back to the front. Now with Tom Petty, this being our first record that we're digging in on the podcast, this is a great way to experience Tom Petty. You know what I mean?
Album.
With starting with this record, because even if we started with Wildflowers or even the soundtrack to She's All That, or
She's the One.
She's the One. Yeah, She's All That's a totally different movie.
But it's surprisingly a better movie.
She's All That, or She's the One?
She's the One is not a very good movie.
Do you remember who wrote it? That was Ed Burns.
Yeah.
The guy that directed Brothers, I think I want to say the Brothers McLaughlin or the Brothers O'Houlihan or something. He was the hot young director.
Yeah.
And his next movie was She's the One. And that was the soundtrack. And I remember it had like Jennifer Aniston. Had an incredible lineup of like the IMDb page for that was legit.
Yeah, good cast, but it had that. It's got like one of the storylines is the brother can't like his brother is like dating Cameron Diaz but married to Jennifer Aniston or something, and it's like this is all like this is just a fucking fairy tale. Like, what do you?
Yeah, dude, it's like make one of them gnarly. Like they're both like 10s.
Yeah, and this guy, it was such. I mean, it was that the mid '90s where you try to like create a problem for white guys. It was real tough.
You know what's funny though? They figured it out in the late 2000s because they figured out the formula that America wants is take a regular white guy and mix him up with another racial group's bad people. So it's like, all right, we've got an accountant in Missouri working with the Suarez cartel.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is. It's like, all right, so what we've got is a pastry chef in Toledo, Ohio, mixed up with a Japanese Yakuza. And that is the popular show America wants. That's what they want. They want regular white people dealing with ethnic gangsters.
Yeah, that is a good show. That is a good, I'll take
Ozark,
that pitch.
It's Breaking Bad. It's Ozark. There's like 5 other shows I think that are like that are on like TNT. So all right, so let's talk about your love for Tom. Have you gone to see him live? Like, is it an obsession? Like, how has it evolved? Because being 15 and hearing that for the first time and then buying all of those records, I get it. That was how I was with Radiohead and not even the Radiohead, the Beatles in particular. Because right around 15 was when the Beatles anthology came out.
Oh yeah.
From that point on, I was like, oh, this is the greatest group in the history of mankind.
Yeah, I did that too with the Beatles.
Yeah.
Same time frame.
It's great, dude. Free as a Bird, Real Love.
Yeah, those are the two, right?
Those are the 2 fresh songs, yeah. And they made the music videos and everything. Real Love is way better than Free as a Bird, though. Jared, you're the Beatles dude. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, good. Glad to see you're paying attention, dude.
I mean, but only when you compare them to each other. When you compare them to other Beatles songs, they're like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're just Real Love there's a really good acoustic version of John Lennon just doing it by himself off of, I'm pretty sure it was called John Lennon Love, because he put out Rock and Roll and Love. There were 2 records that came out in like the late 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, where there were a lot of the B-sides, a lot of the shit that they hadn't released, and Real Love was on there. And I just think the way they did it was good, but it's not as good as that clean version. They took that acoustic version of him doing it, and then the rest of the Beatles added layers to it. But you know, Tom's different though, man. Tom is like, before we get into you, I'm trying to pinpoint the exact moment I knew. I mean, maybe it was like running down the drain. You know,
running down the dream.
Running down the dream. It's not drain.
No, it's not drain.
Well, I'm running down the drain, gonna unclog your thing.
Right, that's like a Blind Melon mashup.
Dude, that's how stupid I am. When we did the live taping of the 500 at Moon Tower, and I was going through the Weezer Blue record. It hasn't come out yet. It's coming out in a few months, but like I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, it was produced by Rick Ocasek, and like Big J and the Sklar's like look at me, they're like, you're kidding, right? I'm like, yeah. Ocasek? Rick Ocasek. I'm like, that's what I said. They're like, you said Ocasek.
I mean, how would you know? That's unfair. That's not a name that gets said a lot.
On this podcast, it is. So.
Right now, but like it's not like the band was called Rick Ocasek and the Cars or whatever. Like they never. How would you know? It's a name that you've only read. Unless you happen to catch an interview, and why would you? If you don't already know, why would you be like, oh, the guy from the Cars is on Letterman tonight? I gotta go home.
God, listen. This is what I said to them. I go, dude, we got the audience and us got such a fun laugh out of it. It was totally worth it.
I mean, mispronounce them all from now on.
Oh, and I do. Oh, and I do. Here, hold this thought for a second. I gotta make my dogs do it. Give me a split second. I'm sorry. Becca, chill.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lyrics of Real Love. This song is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly don't remember it too much because it was going on 30 years now since it came out and I actually listened to it.
I think I was really exposed to it on the Anthology 2.
I gave her a bone. All right, I gave her a bone. She's good to go. All right, let's start with. Do you remember the order? Pick it up from here. Do you remember the order that you bought the records?
Yeah, I mean, it was like everybody else in 1994. I had the Greatest Hits and Wildflowers.
Okay.
And then I got Full Moon Fever. And then I got Damn the Torpedoes. And then I got Echo was the fifth one. And that's the one that came out in April of 99. And that's the one that like sealed it. And so from then on, like and that's when I can't tell you the order because after that,
it's all over the place.
I just got within like 2 months or 3. I mean, this is how I didn't have any money. I was working at Applebee's or whatever, and I was spending all my extra money. Well, I was not even extra. I was spending way too much money on fucking drugs.
Nice.
And so then I to like carve out $25 or whatever to get 5 records at the half price books took a while.
Yeah.
And so I just got them all as fast as I could. And then so catching up, it was a big mash after that. And then after that, it was just the day they came out. So whatever the order release was, I was always there the day they came out.
Is Damn the Torpedoes your favorite Petty record?
It actually isn't.
Really?
But it's great. But it's, again, they all shift. It shifts around so much that it's hard to say what my favorite one is. I think Echo holds that nostalgic place for me because that was the one that made me decide I'm going to get all of these records.
What's on Echo?
It was the first time where there wasn't a lot of hits or videos. It was Free Girl Now was on it. Room at the Top, Billy the Kid, Swingin'. So if you had gotten to see him live, they would have played at least one of those. And I think on that,
yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Damn, that's almost all the songs. Oh, it goes back and forth. Okay.
Yeah.
Room at the Top is the song that when he died, Room at the Top is the song that Eddie Vedder sang at the Oscars.
Oh wow.
For the In Memoriam segment. I remember when that was about to happen, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna show him. They'll probably just show him in the thing, and then they went way over and played like, so Eddie sang Room at the Top. I mean, and it's a great version. It's sad, but
yeah, he died so suddenly. Like it was literally like he did a show like I talked about, and then he was gone. One of the multiple people that we lost. Oh, and it's kind of cool that we're doing this. I got to put the post up. This is May 17th. We're recording this. This is actually 6 years that I've been off of oxys.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I was a fucking junkie, dude. I was a functioning junkie. I mean, I sold my TV show on Oxycontin.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. I was fucking dialed in. Oh man,
you're making a good case for Oxy now.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I try to tell people, like people are like, God, it's so bad. I go, I got new faces because of it. Like I don't know how bad it was for me. The Jam became the most popular show in Los Angeles. I was a great I'm a great comic sober. And I am way better because now I'm as confident as I was when I took Oxys, but it took time to get there. It just Oxys made me. And dude, I'll be completely honest. And I don't know what, at Jeremiah, if you could actually look it up to find out what exactly killed him. We don't have to do it right away, but I'd like to know what killed him. What were his problems? Like if it was fentanyl, but like, did he have back pain?
He had a broken hip.
Oh, he had a broken hip?
He had a hairline fracture in his hip, and they wanted to do surgery before the tour. They told him like, oh, you're going to need to have surgery on this. And it was the 40th anniversary tour, but they had already pushed it because 2015 was they were supposed to have the second Mudcrutch album was supposed to come out, and they were going to do a Mudcrutch tour. But one of the guys in that band had health problems, so they pushed it a year. So that went for 2016, and then that pushed the 40th anniversary tour to 17. And he didn't want to push that again because then it'd be 2 years from the actual 40th anniversary, and he was like, it would feel dumb. So they scheduled the surgery for after the tour, and he did that whole tour with a crack in his hip.
Oh, wow. He's not very like, look, I've seen like videos of him live. Like he's not much of a mover on stage, but I mean, you know, like how old was he when he passed away?
67.
He was 60. Yeah. I mean, that's,
So
God, I hate it. It was fentanyl. Yeah, I remember it was fentanyl because it was him. It was Prince died of fentanyl. I don't know who the guy in the that's Tom Petty. The guy on the left is Lil Peep, who I'd never heard his music, but he was like big in that mumble rap thing. Yeah, fentanyl. Like, do you understand like how lucky I am that I got out? I got out in 2016. The last week I did opiates, I did heroin. I was in DC and my friend had heroin. He got me Demetrius, who's now no longer with us. Demetrius Lendereed, he's a good friend of mine who I tried to save, who's now dead. Got me some perk 30s. And then he goes, hey man, you should do this though. This is like the shit we're getting here in DC. And it was, I think it was fentanyl / heroin. It was like a mixture. It was like white. And I snorted it in the bathroom of the DC draft house. And then me, Adam Ray, Avery, and Amir K went to Ben's Chili Bowl in DC, where I then threw up. And I felt so good. And then that week was the last week I did opiates. And then I had my moment of clarity. I got off. And luckily, like I've talked about before on the podcast, it was like, it's stuck because that moment, like somebody said, I was at the Comedy Store and somebody goes, you know, you relapsed. I was like, yeah. And he goes, when are you going to get sober? And I go, probably when I die. And then he goes, okay. Or you're going to be that 50-year-old comic that's still hanging out here at the store that almost had a TV show. And then you looked over and you saw that guy. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Like that failure is scarier than death. We're all going to die. But being a failure and like and being that person that ruined like a gift or like their talent or they wasted that's scary. And that was it. Then literally, Geoff, fentanyl took over. Like within a year, it was the fentanyl deaths started going up, which I would have been. I would have been one of those. So, and I get it. I did fentanyl too, and it was great. So the idea, like, I get it. Like to be a rock star, to be in pain. I mean, you know, what we do to get through. Have you ever? I mean, do you like need? And this is do you need like? So, because I look, I smoke weed, I take mushrooms. I need both of them. Do you have like a crutch? And I have crutch. That's such a bad way to put it.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, you can say it like that.
You have a crutch?
Yeah,
Do you have a crutch? What do you have?
I mean, I'm back on. I started drinking again.
Yeah.
I'd been quit for like 6 years, and the weed I started getting too. I just like something shifted during the pandemic where I started getting real paranoid, and I smoked weed every day for years, all day. And I could do stand up. I could do, I was doing these theater shows with Tom, and I'd get as stoned as possible. And then there's 2,800 people.
Yeah.
And I like looking back, I can't imagine, I can't believe I could do that and still and do well.
Yeah.
But I can't do nothing. That's something that I've learned is that I can't do nothing. Otherwise I'll never fall asleep.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. It's hard to fall asleep sober. I mean, age is one thing. It kind of puts me out, but sometimes the day just takes the shit out of me anyway. But it's like at the end of the night, I smoke a little bit of weed. I lay on the couch with my dog and I am fucking out. And if I don't smoke pot, I'm up. And
yeah.
And I don't want to be. Well,
I got a pen that I'll hit in bed, but that's I can't leave my room stoned anymore. Because it also doesn't really sometimes most of it's COVID related. I can't stop thinking that I have it.
Really?
Yeah. It's just if you're just paranoid or whatever, it always it feels like some of these drugs like mushrooms and weed, they they like open up the floodgates. Whatever you have that you're like holding back, that lets it out.
Yeah.
And I guess I just have a lot of generalized anxiety over the last few years that when I get stoned, then that's what I feel a lot of the time, and it's no fun anymore.
Do you ever look into meditation?
I look into it all the time. I've never actually done it or done it with any like regularity. I've done it probably a half dozen times.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it's like working out and whatever. Like I just don't. I need to get more. I need to get better at the willpower thing.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. And I mean this sincerely, and this is to everybody out there listening, is I've been meditating every day for the since 2000 and late 2017. And when I'm doing it, everything in my life is together. And then during that trip that I was out on the road for 3 weeks, and I just every morning I would wake up and I'd have to go do something. I never had a moment. I might have meditated out of the 3 weeks I was on the road maybe 4 times. And when I got back from LA, where I saw you, I was like, tired and worn out. And I rested for a day. And then I just, even though I took a week off, I was still freaking out about shit. I don't know what it was. And then I started meditating again, and everything became, what's the word I'm looking for? It became easier to deal with. So I can't stress it enough. If you got to do it, you got to do it daily, and just start doing it. Start it. Just go. I'm going to do 10 minutes every day for a month. And then when you get through that, then you go, all right, now I'm going to, because I do 20 minutes a day in the morning, 20 minutes, and it works. And I'm telling you, and I mean this to everybody, do it. It will make your life better. It will make everything seem easier to manage, or at least you can at least be a lot calmer. And you seem like you're a lot like me. We freak out. Pot makes me freak out. So that's why I do it at the end of the night. I don't drink anymore, but dude, I'm telling you, you got to have an arsenal of fucking, what's kept me sober over all this time is going to a spiritual guide, which I meet with once a week, and meditation. Those 2 things. I don't go to 12-step programs. I don't do anything like that, but it works.
All right, I'll do it. I'll give it a shot.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I mean, it's just 10 minutes.
Let's meditate together for the next half hour of this show. No,
I just close my eyes.
No, we got to talk about Tom Petty, or they're going to kill us.
Oh yeah, that's what we're doing.
So what do you love about him? Like, what is it that makes you this huge fan of Tom Petty? Like, why are you obsessed with him? Why is he your number one?
Well, there's a lot of like I read. All right, so I didn't know this until like I'd already been a fan for 20 years, and then the book came out, the Warren Zanes book.
Yeah.
And when he was explaining his relationship with his family and his father, I just couldn't help but see like, oh, it was very similar to that. So his like, he was able to channel his like anger and defiance into something. And that always, like I kind of have that attitude too. Like this album is a good example because while they were making this album, this was when he was suing the record company.
Yes, there's a lot of interesting facts about this. So here, hold that thought. I want to do the little background on this record. So everybody should know Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. They formed in Gainesville, Florida in 76, but they weren't Petty's first band. The earlier bands were the Sundowners, the Epics, and the Mud Crunch. Mud Crunch released one single, then they moved to LA and moving to LA called Depot Street in 75. But it fell flat. The group breaks up. Then he goes back to Gainesville, reforms, which includes Mike Campbell, which I've got a lot of interesting stories about Mike because I've jammed with him a few times on lead guitar. But yeah, dude. Benmont Trench on keyboards, and Ron Belier on bass, and Stan Lynch on drums. The Heartbreakers were a group. Their self-titled release gained more traction in the UK than it did in the US, but Breakdown did become a top 40 hit here. American Girl was also on that album. Their second record, You Gotta Get It, was their first gold record with the singles I Need to Know, Listen to Her Heart. After the first 2 records, there was dispute with the record label. And I'm going to bring it up in a second. That was resolved. The band was able to focus on today's record, Damn the Torpedoes. Tom Petty went on to release 10 albums through 2014. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002, his first year of eligibility. We've mentioned it. He died in 2017 at the age of 66, 1 week after the end of the Heartbreakers 40th anniversary tour. Hold on. We're always hearing the rock and roll. I don't want to be the future. I want to be present. All right. So right around the time of the recording of this album, I like this quote. Petty was quoted as saying, "We're always hearing that we're the future of rock and roll. I don't want to be the future. I want to be the present." I like that.
Oh, yeah. That's a good quote.
That's a really good quote. So this is their third studio record, recorded in 78 and 79 at two legendary studios, Sound City in Van Nuys and Cherokee Studios in Hollywood. They had success in the first two releases that we mentioned, but this was their big breakthrough. It was their first top 10 album, rising to number 2 for 7 weeks, kept from number 1 by, anybody want to guess?
I know the answer, so no, I'm not going to guess.
You want to know it, Jared?
Yes.
Guess. Don't look at the thing.
I'm looking at it. I can't.
All right, then Pink Floyd's The Wall. Pink Floyd's The Wall. Makes sense because that's like, you know, pot's big in that age, and that's a big pot record. Tom Petty's response to being anchored at number 2 was, "I love Pink Floyd, but I hated them that year." Yeah, dude, fuck Pink Floyd. Fuck Roger Waters. Damn the Torpedoes yielded 2 songs that made the top 15 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart and eventually went on to be certified triple platinum. Now, going what you were saying, and let's talk about this. So Petty's recording contract was assigned to MCA when his distributor ABC Records was sold to MCA in 79. Petty contended that his contract could not be assigned to another record company without his permission and was therefore voided. MCA responded by suing Petty for breach of contract, which prompted him to declare bankruptcy, nice, as a tactic to avoid the contract with MCA. The matter was settled with Petty signing a new recording contract with Backstreet Records, an MCA subsidiary. Did we nail it?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. There was also some trouble with the publishing. He didn't understand publishing, and that meant that they owned the words and they could just let someone do it. But yeah, that's basically it. There's fun stories about how they'd record and then the roadie would take the tapes and drive them around LA so that when you have to go talk to the lawyers, he'd be under oath, and this is the only way he could say he didn't know where they were.
Yeah. That's here. I have it written a little bit more eloquently because it's underneath that, but that was perfect. So I'm going off of what Geoff just said. Because of the hostilities between the band and the record label while the album was being recorded, manager Elliot Roberts took the tapes and put them in a car. I love that. And put them in a car every night. He was like, dude, he's like, I'm going to Pacoima. Then it was done to prevent the record label from trying to seize them. God, it's so dope. Things were so tense. Here you go. This is where I pick it up. Things were so tense between both sides that not even the production people knew about the tapes' whereabouts after each session. So you know what? Cut everything I just said because you literally said it already. That's hilarious.
Just trying to keep it. I mean, he literally he changed the way all of our contracts have been written since.
How so? Just by
they attribute that. That now I guess they just make sure that they understand the difference between publishing and mechanical. I mean, there's a lot of that going on in the comedy record industry right now.
Yeah.
Where some group is trying to get publishing there isn't any more money. I don't really understand what's going on. It's just a way to split up the existing money differently.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a good idea, but
they're always trying to screw comics though. They're always trying to screw. They're always trying to screw the art. All artists will get screwed. I mean, when we did the episode on TLC, remember TLC, the album with Waterfalls? Dude, they were they were broke when they had like 2 number 1 singles in a row, and they all filed for bankruptcy because the record company stole all of their money.
That's so ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
These companies, man, what the fuck? And then they got mad. Then they get mad that once they figured out how to make music free, they got mad. You've been fucking everybody, and now you get fucked a little bit. Come on.
I know that's that's the kind of the thing with Metallica. We made fun of Metallica in 1999 when they were fighting for the rights of no, we wrote this music. We should get paid for it. And we were like, but it's free. Let us keep your art for free. And we shit all over them, and they were right. They were right.
Well, they were right, but they were also like they were coming from this like it was a slightly higher position of privilege than most other bands because they like the times of the label fucking them had passed.
Yeah, you're right.
They had more clout so that they were actually making money off their records. And so they went after the people. And then there's other bands like the Foo Fighters had 3 albums out by that point, and they were like, steal them, take all of them, just listen to the songs and then come to the shows. Because like for most bands, going to the shows is the only way they make any money.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. And dude, Metallica will sell at stadiums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sell at stadiums this year.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Dude, when I did Outside Lands, I saw them and they rule. Like every DUI I got, I was listening to Metallica. All 3 of them.
That's amazing.
The first one, Jeremiah, the one I got with Joel Aguilar, where I crashed my car, leaving that party in Baltimore, and I crashed in Damascus. I was listening to Master of Puppets, and I was going way too fast, and I crashed into a ditch. And within like literally 5 minutes, there were like 12 cop cars there because there was nothing to do, Jeff, in that part of town. Damascus, Maryland's in the middle of nowhere. Like you couldn't sell booze in Damascus. So there was an accident. Every cop was there. And this is what was funny. While they were doing the sobriety test on me, the other 11 cops couldn't get the Metallica off the car stereo.
Really?
So yeah, so I'm like doing the sobriety thing, and you're just like, it's like, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that what y'all say. I'm like doing.
Did it help? I think having the music would help.
No, I got DUI.
Not getting out of the DUI, but doing the test, this field sobriety test. I feel like having the music would help me stay give me a good rhythm.
It definitely made being put in handcuffs feel much more emotional when Unforgiven was playing. Like, what I said, what I known, slam, never shine me what I shown.
I mean, you want a soundtrack when something's happening. You just, if there's no music, then it feels very anticlimactic. If there is music, you can pretend it's a movie.
For sure. Does this record, like Damn the Torpedoes, is this a soundtrack to any part in your life? Is it 15?
No, I mean, let's see. I was probably 18, 19 when I was listening to it the most often. And because I had the least amount of Tom Petty records at that point, and so they like the ones I did have were just in heavier rotation.
Yeah,
and so it just like it's one of those like I would like to put it on and roll the windows down, and it always has kind of made me want to smoke cigarettes. So even when I didn't smoke, I didn't listen to it that much because it's like drinking black coffee or just I guess those are the two things.
Yeah.
You just want to roll the windows down, smoke cigarettes, drive around, and listen to my Oldsmobile. I had an Oldsmobile Delta 88, great big Grand Royale, just fucking 5 tons.
God, I miss big cars, dude.
Oh man, I look them up all the time. You can still get like pretty good condition, like $4,000 if they're in good condition. You can get undrivable ones for $500, but you can get drivable ones for about $4,000.
Really?
But they do not get. I mean, back in the 90s, it would take $25 to fill the tank, which meant it's a 25-gallon tank.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And that affected my budget. I think it got like 8 miles a gallon or something. Like it would be fucking bankrupt.
So now 25 gallons. I mean, that's the thing. I feel so lucky to be in New York and not in Los Angeles is that like I don't buy gas. Everybody's talking about how fucking heavy it is. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just walked 15 blocks to the Comedy Cellar. Like my whole life is all the clubs are within literally the longest walk is 30 minutes. And I do it all the time because it's the summer. Even during the winter, I did it. It's like I love not driving. I love not driving, and I love not
driving also. But
where are you? Are you LA?
My apartment is in Cincinnati, but I haven't been there in a couple months, and I won't be there for a couple months.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The tour looks so much fun. You know,
it's unbelievable. We just have 2 days off right now, so that's why I'm in the YMH studio.
Oh, nice.
And
Christina,
we leave again tomorrow.
Christina canceled on us. She was supposed to do. She's done the Smiths, but she was supposed to do the Pixies, and she gave us more than enough time. And we were really lucky that Dave Rath helped us get Patton Oswalt, and it was a great episode. And she'll come back again and do the Smiths or do another record because she's already done it. We love her, but it's like, dude, it's like Tom did fucking right after the accident. He did Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Laying in bed, like literally laying in bed. Fucking, this is the night after he did the live stream with Bert, and he goes, Josh, he's like, we made so much money like on New Year's. I'm like, I mean, no, we made like whatever. He goes, no, so much. The guy I can, and I know, and Sickler's one of my best friends, so I know what, like, you're fucking eating lobster every meal.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, you're not struggling. Do you like, I mean, so back to what you said about the 18th, we got to talk about this record. We got to focus on this or the fans are going to get mad at me. Which they do anyway, right, Jeremiah?
Yeah.
There's somebody mad right now. Just like, talk about the songs.
Well, people rarely write in to tell you they like something. People
Never.
always write in to tell you they hate something.
And none of them are subscribed to the Patreon. Not one of them. Not one of them. It's always the free. When I had the porn star Indica Flower on, there's this one girl, Grace, who I love, who's been a fan. I'm calling you out, Grace, because she sent me a message, and I fucking snapped at her. I felt so bad. I was just like, I'm making a free podcast. What do you want from me? She goes, you're dealing with a lot, Josh. I'm sorry. I'll delete the comment. And I was like, oh man, I'm such a dick. I'm such a dick.
But I mean, maybe, but also, what are you doing? It's a free podcast. If you don't like something, just move on with your fucking life.
Not Grace. Grace, I love you. You're great.
Not Grace, but
Grace is legit. I follow her. She's a diehard.
I'm not talking about her specifically. I just mean in general. How, like, what kind of lunatic is like, this thing I get for free isn't exactly what I wanted it to be this time?
You know what it is? And this is what Morty said as Morty quit the show, who Morty has been super helpful again. I call him and we talk about the records. He was our writer for years, and he was a co-host for a short period of time. As he was leaving the show, he goes, Josh, I'm just letting you know, man, it's like music hits differently with people. It's not movies. It's not painting. It's not a book. He's like, these songs, they associate with important parts of their life, whether it's the first kiss of a girl, the death of a family member, you know, like you said, dude, it's like, think about this. And this is why you love Tom Petty, is because you had nothing before that. And then your life, you literally can break your life up between before Petty, after Petty, because you became who you are. The way you dress, everything is, and the comedy that I've seen you do, it's like that's formulated through that music. For me, 100%. Guns N' Roses. My life was never the same after I heard Guns N' Roses in '87. And so people take it a little bit harder. They take it like, if you critique, dude, the first time I experienced it, Geoff, we did MGMT, Oracular Spectacular, just a bullshit throwaway record from like 2002 or 10 or whatever the fuck it came out. And I remember I somehow ended up on a Reddit page for MGMT that somebody filled me in with, where they were shitting on me and Gareth Reynolds for critiquing the record the way that we did, which we ultimately liked it.
I mean, it's also, you can almost tell how old a person is too, because before I was in my 40s, or maybe pre 35 or whatever, I could still get real, like if I heard somebody on a podcast talking shit about Tom Petty, it would bother me, but now it's just like, okay, whatever you want, man. Like I don't have the energy to hate anything anymore, and not in like an altruistic way or whatever. Like, there are things I still hate, but it's not the Eagles anymore. I used to hate the Eagles. I don't give a shit anymore. If you were like, oh, the Eagles are my favorite band, I'd be like, cool, you have a favorite band. That's awesome. I wish I wish I liked the Eagles more. I wish I liked Nickelback more. How much easier would your life be if you could just turn on the radio every day and be like, oh, cool, some songs.
Yeah. And some people are like that.
Yeah.
There are some people that just put on the radio and they go, oh, well, this is what I'm listening to. I'll let them decide for me because it's all background music. The people like
I envy
us,
those people.
Yeah, so do I.
They pulled their window too far. Like you hear things that are too good and it just moves what you can handle or whatever. And then there are people who are just like, I just like the sound, the sounds. I like songs, commercials are okay. Sometimes it's commercials, but songs are better. But the radio plays both. Those people are heroes.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, they really are. They, you know what? God bless them. But they're not my fans. Oh no, they're not my fans. Fans of this podcast that are tuning in right now. I've been waiting for this record for months. 4 months.
It's one of the best. It's 9 songs.
Yeah.
Refugee. The way Refugee starts is so fucking killer.
Yeah, it really is, dude. What a good like here. Let's go through some song facts because I really can't put down any song that's on this record. I really think it's a perfectly every song is placed perfectly. What do you call that? God damn it, not the order. There's the sequencing on this record.
Yeah, the sequencing. The
sequencing on this record is incredible. I got to give the shout out to the producer. Let me just look at the facts of some of this. Is it here? There it is. So this record's produced, I don't know if we already mentioned it, by Jimmy Iovine. Is that how you say his name?
I think it's just Iovine, but
Jimmy Iovine. See, fuck, dude.
I mean, how would you say it's spelled? The way you said it is how I said it for 20 years. And then there was like, I saw him in a documentary or whatever, and then I heard his name said out loud.
You're right. Jimmy Iovine, this guy is, one of the, billionaire with Dr. Dre, and it's produced by Tom Petty.
You want to know an Iovine fact about this album? And it combines both those things you just said.
What?
When he was, when they were calibrating Beats headphones, he calibrated it to this record.
Did he really?
Yeah. He said of all the records he ever heard, this one had the best sound. So he calibrated. I mean, it's a little self-serving because he produced it also, but he calibrated Beats headphones to this. So if you have Beats, listen to this album on that, and there's like no better way to listen to the album.
Done. I'm a Bose guy, but big ups to the Beats people. Dude, noise canceling Bose. Airplane, incredible. All right, so the singles from this record, which we mentioned, the first one to come out was "Don't Do Me Like That," which is, it's still played on classic rock and regular rock stations. "Refugee" came out a few months later. Another credible song. It's like I said, it's another song you hear on classic rock. "Here Comes My Girl" and "Even the Losers." Those are great fucking songs, man. Like really solid songs. This is my question. Is Tom Petty yacht rock?
No. Not enough saxophone.
Okay. No, you're right.
There's got to be a little more saxophone. And it's a little it has a little more of it's a little grittier or whatever than most would be, like Boz Scaggs or whatever. That's a little cleaner sound.
Sure.
And Petty the only time that his sound was like very clean was the 2 records he made with Jeff Lynne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Full Moon Fever is actually, that one sounds fine. Into the Great Wide Open sounds a little yacht rocky, but that's Jeff Lynne, not Tom Petty.
Would you call this record an LA record? Would you call this like, because it's like so at least some of the characters, it seems to have a pretty rosy view. They talk about like Century City in it. Like, do you think this is a Los Angeles like focused centric record?
Yeah, it does. Century City really leans towards it. That's where the lawyers were. So you're just going to see the lawyers. He was driving to Century City every day and eventually wrote that song. It does feel a little, well, Don't Do Me Like That also has like a sunny day feel to it, but it's an old song. It was a Mudcrutch song. Yeah. That they did as a warm up one day. And the Iovine was like, oh, we should put that on the record. but it's Louisiana Rain feels like Southern. That song, You Tell Me, feels like a Memphis song. It feels like it's okay. Here's what this might be it.
Okay.
It's an LA record made by people who are not from LA. Like none of them are from LA. They all moved there from somewhere else. Iveen's not from LA. The whole band is from Florida. And they'd only been in LA they moved to LA in like 74. But then the 3 years previous to this, they were just on the road.
Yeah.
So it does have that it's a little bit like the life's tough part of LA, not the Laurel Canyon.
Yeah,
scene.
it's not
like,
Eagles.
It's not the Eagles. It's not Jackson Brown. It's not Crosby, Stills, and Nash. It's none of that. But it definitely is. So I guess maybe like the Valley, maybe it is like a Valley record.
No, I don't think this isn't a Hollywood record for sure. This is definitely a Valley, like, yes, if you're driving into Century City and they're recording this in Van Nuys, and I don't know what Van Nuys is like in 1978, 78, 79, but there's a different vibe that the Valley, and especially when it comes to, if you're going to be writing the record in California, it's different than writing it in Florida where there's rain and there's humidity, or even writing something like in England or like Seattle. It's like when you listen to Band on the Run and you find out that they wrote it in Africa, you're like, all right, I can see that. You know what I mean? It's there's things about it. I don't know if I would call this an LA record, but I would say that it definitely probably influenced the sound 100% and the vibe of it for sure. Do you think Don't Do Me Like That represents the greatest use of organ in rock history?
Oh, that's tough. Now, so now I have to think about all the other songs.
Organ songs, yeah. What are the big organ songs, Jeremiah? Look that up while he thinks.
I don't know. It definitely is a good like pop piano song. Like, and there wasn't but like a full band, I don't know if it would be the best use of organ.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's the best use of their organ. Like their organist, their piano player. Like there's better stuff like that, but that is like as far as so you did just find a list, that's why.
Light My Fire. Yeah, Light My Fire. I don't know what 96 Tears is. I don't know what Carnival 9 is. House of the Rising Sun. You Keep Me Hanging On by Vanilla Fudge.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great song. Your Time Is Gonna Come by Zeppelin. Chest Fever by the band.
Oh yeah, that one's good. Oh, the Spencer Davis Group. Yeah, okay.
Give Me Some Lovin'. Is that the one? Just give me some lovin'. Give me some lovin'. Yeah, that's a good one. Hush, and coming in at number 1.
Okay, Hush might be it.
A Whiter Shade of Pale. Yeah, it's not even in the top 10. And this is PR Quarterly. This is a reputable news source.
I might have to go with Hush. Hush is really good.
All right, good. I feel like we got to the bottom of that. So let's talk about, we talked about sequencing. This album has such a good flow. Does it feel like it's just one long song to you?
It does, especially when they have there's a couple of like interstitial like noise things that just drag one song into the other right away. Like, man, when I was listening to back when it was just cassettes, when I just had cassettes, it was such a good, it's just straight through.
Yeah.
And it never mattered to me where it was. Whenever I'd start the car, it didn't matter because I just let it go the whole way. It does have a real, it does feel coherent. And that's probably Jimmy Iovine related a little bit. He's really good at that.
The same way that Born to Run has a flow to it, that it just feels like one piece of work where, yes, you have movements in it. I agree with that about this. I think it had lots to do with the production. I also feel like he's writing it all here in Los Angeles, except for Don't Do Me Like That, which you said was a song that they had written in Mudcrunch.
Yeah, Mudcrunch did it. It was like from the earlier 70s. But it fit. Like as soon as he heard it, he was like, "Oh, this has to go on the record," and he's right. I mean,
Yeah, this is without that song. This record is not the same.
It's certainly not. It's certainly not triple platinum. Like as good as all the other songs are, that song was probably like 1979, 1980s version of like Better Man or whatever, where it's just whatever your radio station plays, you'll play this song.
Yeah, yeah. So if we really had to like say what you appreciate most about the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers sound, what would it be? Do you have one word that you can think of?
Well, the one word that I associate most with him is defiance. Like he's so defiant in his songwriting and his point of view and just the general attitude towards everything. I mean, the fact that they're making the album that was their at the time their biggest hit, that they were like, you know, they were doing like 500 seaters or whatever, 300 seaters and not filling them for those when those first two records were out. And the fact that that's what their career was, and he was still like, well, I'll just fucking quit. I'll go home. I don't need, like, you can't push me around.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of liked, I mean, in my case, it's been probably more detrimental. But in his case, I do have a lot of respect for that. He's never been, none of his songs have ever been in commercials. Like that kind of thing. Like he just doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do.
He has his own sound. He for sure has his own sound. So this is one of our Patreon
too.
What? That is, he has his own sound?
Yeah, like when you think about like when Don't Come Around Here No More came out, that song didn't sound like any other song they'd ever made, but it also didn't sound like it could be any other band.
No, it's Petty. It's, you know, his voice is so authentic. It's so Tom Petty. The second you hear him sing throughout his entire career, you know, I mean, you can just hear like one word of it and you're like, oh, it's a Tom Petty song.
Yeah.
There's a vibe. It has a feeling. It has a voice. It's everything. And that goes with one of our Patreon questions by Eric Fletcher. So in the vein of Damn the Torpedoes, what was the best experience you had that began with saying, fuck it, I'm doing this without thinking of consequences?
Wow.
A good Patreon question, Eric.
Yeah. That's I mean, that's hard to do. Will you go first and let me hear yours? I know it's I have to go through my whole life.
I mean, if we're talking about in my career, it has to be the Jam, because, you know, I'm trying to think of consequences. It was like I was in such a place. I've talked about this before in the podcast, but I was in such a place in my life and in my career where I was like, I don't know what to do. I just want to do something that'll be fun. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I never thought it was going to get as big as it became. I never had any idea like how quickly it was going to move, but it was literally just like, no, this is like, I have to do this. I don't give a fuck about anything. If it fails, it fails, but at least I did it. And then immediately it just became like, you know, it's changed my life. Still, you know, 8 years later, it's like, it's still my number one source of my income every year.
Well, then that's much better than mine. I think mine is, in general, it just the idea that I never moved. Everyone always told me to move. And then I did a couple times, but I didn't want to. And so when I finally was like, nah, I'm not gonna, I never thought about the consequences, and there probably were some, but I don't care. I don't know. I guess this is going to be dumb, but cocaine? Can that be the answer?
I mean,
I remember the first time I did that, I was like, fuck it. Like I'd always been scared of it because of Len Bias. And then the first time I saw some and was offered it, I was like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, that's every drug. It's always like, oh, you're cool. All right. Yeah, if you're doing it, I'll do it. I mean, I can die from this. Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm 19. I've done enough. I've lived enough. Whatever it was. Like,
very acceptable answer, and I'll take it. Eric, thank you for the question.
I wish I had a better answer. I'll probably think of it. So I'll be honest, my brain never fully rebooted after I had COVID. So it's hard to remember a lot of stuff now.
You have brain fog still?
Yeah, it's been like a year. And I like a couple of days ago, I like riffed on stage, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I was able to do that again. Like I hadn't done it in a well, the year prior to getting it, there wasn't any stages to do it.
Sure.
In the years since then. So maybe a little bit of it is like out of practice, but also I just don't think it works the same. I can't think as good. I'll think of 5 good answers for this in the next one day. And I'll text them to you, but it'll be too late.
We can add it in. You can just record a voice note on your phone and send it to Jeremiah.
Okay.
All right. Another Patreon question. This is from Jeremy Brinling. For me personally, Tom Petty has been my go-to answer of the artists I regret not seeing while they were still with us. Geoff, who was the artist you never saw live but wish you did?
The Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get to see them. I bought I scrounged together whatever the $75 was for that Lollapalooza when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
But I got found out. Like somehow my parents found out that whatever it was I was saying I was going to do, I wasn't going to do. And I was going to this, and I wasn't, like I got caught and wasn't able to go. And then I figured, oh, well, I'll be out of this house someday and I'll go see the Beastie Boys. And it just never really happened. It wasn't really that much options.
Jared, I think were you there with me at Tibetan Freedom concert?
Yeah, in HF Festival?
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
With the lightning strike, and they had to stop the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we kind of saw them, but didn't. The band, and I've said it a million times, and I mean this. It sounds like a ridiculous answer. The person that I regret not seeing, Neil Diamond.
Oh yeah, did he die?
He didn't die, but he got Parkinson's.
Oh yeah, so he's
not performing. And there was a show, a famous album of his that I love. It's called Hot August Nights, and he did it at the Greek Theater 40 some odd years ago. And then he did a 20th anniversary, he did a 30th anniversary, and he did a 40th anniversary. And that 40, I didn't even know it was happening, and I missed it. And then when I started going to shows, when I started making money really in 2016, I was like, all right, well, now I want to go. And I missed it because he's retired. I think he retired in 18, but I think that's when it was. And I just wasn't paying attention. And 18 was the time I was like, man, so fuck, dude.
I would like to have seen Neil Diamond too.
Oh God. All those. That's why I go see Billy Joel every month. I go to I went on Saturday for a half hour. I bought a $40 ticket because I wanted to keep the streak alive because that was my 4th month in a row. Oh, Jared, you know what I went to last night Sunday night? I went to go see Deftones at Pier 17.
What?
Do you remember when we almost died at the Deftones show?
Yeah.
So we went to a Deftones show, Geoff, at 9:30 Club, which I'm doing June 27th. I want to see everybody there in Washington, D.C., doing a jam. And I'm headlining the DC Improv the 24th and 25th. It's a big weekend. So all the DC Fleece Army people, I want you guys to come out. But Jared and I went to go see, when he worked for DC 101, he got us free tickets to Deftones. I remember you hit me up that day. You want to go? I was like, fuck yeah, dude. It's fucking Deftones. Fucking Deftones from Philly. Fucking Deftones. And we went there, and remember how packed it was? And you and I was like holding onto your arm because, dude, Geoff, it was so packed in the club that if one person moved, everybody moved. It was like an ocean.
Oh,
it was like with waves. And at one point,
that's too many people.
Way too many people. And Jer, I was holding on to Jer, and then you got like sucked into another group of people. And I remember it was like a scene out of a movie. I was like, no, and you're just like, and just got taken and washed away. And then what was crazier was, dude, there were so many people in there. It was so packed, and I'm 5'9", so I'm shorter than a lot of the guys that I was around in the circle. And they were all breathing so hard, like, because we all are just packed in, sweating. They were stealing all the oxygen. So I couldn't breathe. I had to like fight to like get up on people's shoulders to breathe. It was the scariest concert experience I've ever had. This God. One Sunday night, way different.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. Great show.
I saw Billy Joel last fall. Since Petty passed away, And I heard enough of those people who were like, oh, I wish I would have seen him. I regret not seeing him. That since then I've just been on a run of like, anytime I can see anybody that I haven't seen that I even kind of like, I go. And so like I went and saw Journey and Toto like a month ago at the Forum or the Staples Center. And it was fine. It was fine. I mean, it's also I've learned this, like now that like I can afford to do this and it doesn't have to be such a big deal. Going to see bands like that is all it's just as fun as going to see a band I love, but for different reasons. It's so much more fun to have no pressure to see everything. Like I don't, you know, like it's like seeing a movie a second time and you're like, oh, if I gotta pee, I'll just go pee. Like Journey, I don't give a shit what song they're playing. Like I just wanted to see Journey some. And if I gotta go piss or I want to go look at merch or I need another drink, I'll just leave, whatever it is. There's no like, there's no favorite song.
Yeah. Well, you got to hear Don't Stop Believing. You have to be there for Don't Stop Believing. That's it.
They played it third. The fucking balls on these guys to play it third that's incredible.
That's like
what did they end with then?
Lights, maybe? I don't remember. Like, but it's one of those, like, so I saw Paul McCartney a long time ago and they did Live and Let Die. And there's like fireworks shooting across the stage. And we're 2.5 hours into the show. And my brother and I were like, well, this has to be it. But it wasn't. They played for another 45 minutes because he's Paul McCartney and he has songs for days. And you forget, like they played Don't Stop Believing and you're like, I guess, and nobody left. Everybody, because like you see I saw Tom Petty so many times that there's always those people that are like, oh, as soon as they play Free Fall and someone's leaving. Yeah. And it's a bummer, but also I hope they're right next to me so that I have more room.
Yeah.
But they're just wasting time. We saw him in Nashville once and this lady, it was her birthday. And after every song, she would just scream for Free Fallin'. And we're not where he can hear us.
Yeah.
We're like, I mean, if you just telephoned it, like the Twilight Bark or whatever, it would still take like 8 more people to get it to the stage.
Yeah.
And every time she'd scream it, I'd be like, listen, he's going to do it. Like, you don't have to scream this. Like, he's going to do it and he's going to do it late. So just stop screaming in my goddamn ear every time. And she either didn't believe me or was just
can't stop, won't
stupid.
stop.
Yeah. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop, dude. They're at every show. That person's at every show. You know, I've gone to a lot of like new metal shows with Big J Okerson, and I mean, it's, you know, Deftones, fucking Slipknot. We're always lumped around these fans that are just like, you know, just the Deftones show. There was this dude that was like 55 years old and he had no neck. He was built like one of those like He-Man characters that's kind of like a stop sign shape. And he was just going up to people like, this is the fucking best. This is the best. They're gonna play Digital Bath. Yeah. And he was just so intense. And you just watch them. I get more fun at concerts watching the people that I'm around than the people that are on stage, especially Billy Joel. I've seen him so many times now. And I take mushrooms when I go to him. So it's like, you know, it's great. You can't ever have a bad trip because every other song is fucking like, once you start going to the dark side, I'll be like, oh shit, I took too much mushrooms. The next song is like, whoa, yeah, oh, the longest for the long. You're like, I can't fucking flip out to this. All right, here, I want to tell you this before we get you out of here. So I mentioned that I met and jammed with Mike Campbell. I had no idea who he was the entire time until after the fact. So I'm good friends with Tol Wilkenfeld, and in like 2018, we became buddies and we went to NAMM, which is that huge music industry trade show in Irvine, California. And and we went to this jam. Well, before that, I should say she had a party at her house and Mike, that was where I jammed with him. It was like him. Who else was there? Jackson Brown. fucking more people. Sean Lennon, Rosario Dawson, just a bunch of like assorted famous people. And there's this dude wearing like this bucket hat and has really has knotty hair, and he's taller. And it was funny because this is Tom's dead at this point. There was a sadness to him. He wasn't like, this outgoing guy. He was very shy and very reserved. He spoke very quietly, and we jammed, and she has a studio in her backyard, and like we fucking played for an hour. I sang with them. I did like Helter Skelter. I did a couple of mostly like Beatles stuff. And then we went to NAMM, and I knew who he was then, but then it was like you saw like how fucking worshipped he was. And there was a party afterwards at this like school to raise money for like, cancer or music or whatever it was. And Mike played with Alice Cooper on vocals, Steven Stills, Matt Sorum, who's done the podcast, as on drums, Johnny Depp on guitar.
Wow.
And this is like, way before the Amber Heard thing, but dude, it was like, and that was who I was most starstruck about, was Johnny Depp, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Dude, he smelled exactly the way you would think Johnny Depp smells.
Now, I've never been able to determine whether or not that, because I look at him and I would believe that no one has ever smelled better or worse, but nowhere in between those.
It's a mixture of good and bad.
Okay, so you're right. He does smell exactly how I think.
It's
combo best and worst ever.
I mean, it was like, oh God, what smells so? It was like, that smells so delicious. And he walked by and he goes up to Tull and he's like, Tull, good to see you. And she's like, he's like, hey, it's my friend Josh. And he's like, nice to meet you. And then he walks by and he's like, you could feel his bracelets and his hands were like, like he'd been building shit, callousy and like really like, cigarette stains on him, like, as he smokes those fucking like real, those John Quincy Adams cigarettes, that the Federalists smoked.
Okay.
It was everything that I was like, it lived up to everything, every single thing. And then I've jammed with Mike again at another party at her house. But that was cool because by that time he got to meet, he knew my name and I knew who he was. And I knew like, because like Tull even told me, she was like, or somebody else told me, she's like, dude, that's like, the guitar from American Girl. Like that's everything like from Tom. And it just sucks because like, and this is what I'm saying about it. This is why I love doing this podcast, is because now I'm a Tom Petty fan. I am 100% a Tom Petty fan. As soon as I'm done with this episode, as I get ready to go to Bonfire today, I will listen to Tom Petty on Amazon. It's going to be in my rotation. And now I want to learn more about him because of this. And it's like I said, it's one of those things that sucks that he's gone. But what is great is we do have this catalog of music that he put together that is just incredible. And it really does cover decades,
Yeah, so much. I saw Mike's band at the Viper Room. And like that corner where the bathrooms are?
Yeah.
At the Viper Room, that's also like the green room is right there, but it's one of those like rolly doors that's like it's a pocket door. That's what it's called, a pocket door.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, like I just found I had to go by myself. I couldn't get anybody else to go see the dirty, like just ask if you want to see the Dirty Knobs, and everyone's like, oh, what? No. And so I'm just standing in the corner by myself, and there's like a rustling, and around the corner, suddenly he's standing right next to me, and he goes, "What's up, man?" And I didn't say anything.
Oh,
I was frozen. I wasn't expecting to see him. I did not think he would be right there. And well, I mean, what am I going to say? I think I might have nodded. And then later his wife came out and was like, I was dressed all in black, and she was like, this drunk girl keeps trying to get in the green room. Can you make her leave? And she just thought I worked there. So I did.
Yeah, dude.
I made that girl leave.
You're like, all right, let's go, lady.
She thought I worked there too. And then I walked to the front door, And then I told the guy at the door, I was like, she keeps bothering the band. And he was like, okay, I'll keep her out. And then let me back in. So everyone thought I worked there. Even another guy that worked there thought, like, he was never like, why are you doing this? He was just like, okay, I got you. And I was like, all right.
I could see you working at the 930 Club. Like, I could see you working at the Viper Room. It's not like it's Jeremiah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like fucking a CPA look. You got fucking rock star kicking out people look.
I do. And I have the bulk of a guy who can work the door.
For sure. You have door bulk.
You have door bulk.
You have door bulk. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's get you out of here. We ask every guest these questions. So we're not changing it now. Favorite song on the record?
On the record, Even the Losers.
Even the Losers. Let me look at mine. I'm gonna do mine with you. I am gonna say fuck, man, don't do me like that. I'll tell you guys why off air, because I can't say it on air. But we'll stop recording why I think it's my favorite, but it's great. All right, least favorite song on the record. Like, what do you skip over?
I don't skip over any of them, but I will say not to start a fight, but if I was going to, it would be Don't Do Me Like That.
Really?
But only because I've heard that more than any of the other songs on the record, because that's the one that's on the radio all the time. So when I was listening to the radio and they'd be like, Tom, after this, Tom Petty or whatever, it would 90% of the time it was Don't Do Me Like That.
I would say, I get it. No, that makes perfect sense. That's a great answer, because it's hard to say what your least favorite record is off an album that you love. As I always say, what do you skip over? And it's like, you don't need to hear Don't Do Me Like That again. You know it. Maybe sometimes you're in the mood for it, but other times I would say I skip the second half of this record. I was starting to get, I wouldn't say it was bad at all, but it was like, I just think that like this, it's very heavy loaded up front, unless you get to Don't Do Me Like That. And You Tell Me is great, but I would say either Louisiana Rain or What Are You Doing in My Life? They're not bad songs. I'm just saying I was, by the point of the end of the record, I was like, oh, it's over. Okay, cool.
Right. Maybe What Are You Doing in My Life is the one that feels, it's the one that feels most like just a song. It's the most like, well, we can't make it be only 8 tracks.
Yeah.
So that's the one that probably could have been left off.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I'm going with you. All right. What song on this record would you fuck to?
Oh, well, that's for sure not Don't Do Me Like That. That one's a little too fast. Maybe oh, I don't know, man. Here Comes My Girl has got a good, nice groove.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But I think Here Comes My Girl, but I could also fuck to Refugee. Dude, this was great. This was so much fun, Geoff. Thank you for doing it, man. Promote away your social media, whatever you want to promote again.
At Geoff Tate on Instagram, and geofftatecomedy.com is my website. And it looks great. I got a new one built.
Nice.
So I finally have one that I'm like, no, go look at it. It's good. It's good. It's not, it doesn't look like a fucking error page anymore or whatever.
Yeah. It's updated. It's I was able
to pay someone to do it. And so it's really helped.
Good for you, dude. Welcome to being a professional comic.
Oh, I know, man. It only took, here's the secret. You just do it for a long time and then hope one of your friends gets famous.
You ain't lying, dude. You ain't lying. Thank you, Bill Burr. Thank you, Bill Burr. Geoff, this was great, buddy. Thank you, man.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.